morning on this Friday, April 11th. You're watching the VSB Evening News. I'm Kristen Martinez, and here's our top story. Education Commissioner Dr. Edmund Heatley has abruptly given his resignation without giving a reason to the Ministry of Education authorities, and it has been accepted by Permanent Secretary Ross Weber effective April 30th. Speaking at a news conference on the subject, Mr. Weber read the following statement.
Today I received and accepted the resignation of Dr. Edmund Heatley from the role of Commissioner of Education. Dr. Heatley will work out a period of notice between now and April 30th, while transitioning his work duties to Dr. Lou Matthews, who will assume the role of Acting Commissioner of Education for the near future. Dr. Matthews will be supported by a team of directors and assistant directors, and this team includes Dr. Llewellyn Simmons, Dr. Freddie Evans, Ms. Laverne Simons, Ms. Terry Cox, and Ms. Chesia Calloway. They, of course, are supported by the rest of the staff in the Department of Education. The last few weeks have been a very challenging time for all involved with the education portfolio. It is important that Dr. Matthews and the entire team in the department get the backing and the support of education stakeholders and the whole community as we move forward with the progression of our education system.
He was asked how a successor to Dr. Heatley would be chosen.
Under the Education Act, the body that is tasked with trying to find and select and recommend candidates for the Commissioner of Education is the Board of Education. They have a set of criteria that they use and they go through their process in order to put forward selected candidates. It will be up to the Board of Education to have a look at the job description, to have a look at the minimum experience and qualification criteria, and work through that process. Should they decide that they wish to change that, I am sure that you will hear from the Board of Education.
Despite the fact the Bentley Mutual Insurance Company has produced the license it was given by the Registrar General in October 2013, enabling it to found a friendly society, which now supplies insurance to 30 members, the Transport Control Department is telling any individual who presents a motor insurance certificate from Bentley that they are uninsured and should not be on the road. This was confirmed in a government release last night as the authorities ratcheted up their campaign to stop Bentley doing business as an insurer of health, property, motor vehicles, and life. In the TCD's case, it is claimed that Bentley has not been authorized under the Motor Car Insurance Act of 1943 to insure third-party risks. A 20-year-old man appeared in magistrate's court this morning on 14 counts of sexual exploitation. The man, who was employed as a landscaper, was accused of sexually exploiting a 13-year-old female on 13 separate occasions in 2013. 4 of the charges alleged that the defendant committed an act of unlawful carnal knowledge of the minor. One charge also alleged that the defendant used a cell phone and Facebook to initiate contact with the young female. The man was not required to enter a plea as the matter is indictable and must be heard in the Supreme Court. The defendant was released on bail and will return to court at a later date. The only thing that will make some people obey the law is a visit to magistrate's court and a hefty fine, and that is what Ann Hyde, Executive Director of Keep Bermuda Beautiful, is hoping will happen to a number of illegal dumpers whose cases are being studied by the police and prosecutor's office. As part of our Environmental Awareness Month activities, VSB News' Brian Darby interviewed her on the 50th anniversary of her organization.
We are actually in the process. I know Waste Management and the Prosecution's Department are in the process of working on a couple of cases where we hope, with fingers crossed, that this will lead to successful prosecution as a deterrent, a strong deterrent to people. And it makes no difference to increase penalties and fines, to put up cameras everywhere if there's no enforcement. So enforcement is the key. And education, a big campaign to educate the community, and hats off to VSB for doing the month of April as your Environmental Awareness Month.
But we're human. When we see a kid throw a package of food that he's finished with out the window from the car, and the parents don't say anything, you wonder, we haven't touched that family, have we?
Education begins at home. I mean, it's important to get that message in schools, and KBB is having a bigger profile in schools now, but education begins at home, and the parents know it's right and wrong, and they know not just littering, but other infractions, and teaching your kids the right way to go so that they grow up in the right way.
Resources, could you always have more?
We could always have more, always have a bigger budget. As you know, we've faced a few budget cuts this year, so we are scrambling and struggling a bit, but KBB is 50 years old now. We're not going away. We're sustainable. We're here.
But you actually have said to me in the past, your day will come when they do away with KBB.
Well, wouldn't it be nice to think that we wouldn't be needed? KBB could just shut the door and lock the door. It wouldn't be needed anymore.
And what a lovely place this would be.
But the other horrifying thought is what if KBB didn't exist? What would our island look like? What would the impact of the littering, the continual littering by that small fraction of the population be?
In our country.
Yeah, if KBB or other organizations didn't exist that weren't keeping after maintaining and keeping it litter-free.
Travelers flying on a plane bound for JFK from Trinidad had to be diverted to Bermuda after the smell of burning occurred in the cabin. At around 4:53 a.m. this morning, a Caribbean airline flight BW425 had left Trinidad and was heading to New York when the smell of electrical burning could be detected in the cabin. The plane was then diverted to Bermuda and landed incident-free. Luckily, no injuries were reported, and the airport terminal was opened to the 106 passengers and crew who were on board. The plane has been grounded, and the passengers are presently on island awaiting passage to their final destination. College lecturer and economist Craig Simmons pulled no punches when he discussed Bermuda's economy with an appreciative audience on Thursday at the Bermuda Library, including the awesome burden that young Bermudians are going to be shouldering to finance the needs of the elderly.
There is a $3 billion gorilla in the room, and it is the pension liability that exists. It's a pension liability. The amount of money that we have to pay out relative to the assets that are supposed to be financing that payout, there's a huge gap. $3 billion. It's like 60% of our gross domestic product. And there are a number of reasons why that's happened. One of which is we don't produce enough babies. Yeah? Most of us postpone pregnancy until we're 25, 30, 35, so on and so forth. And we have this problem right now where there are a few young people and a lot of old people. That, to my way of thinking, is the biggest problem. No, actually, that's the second problem. The biggest problem, and a lot of people are not going to like me saying this, is that once we go 65, we expect to live 30 and 40 years. What's that all about? I mean, do you understand what that means? Yeah, hopefully not much longer. But what that means is that young people are going to have to pay out to people like me for like 30 and 40 years. And there are a few of them, and there are a lot of us, and we're living a long time. So I would suggest that you be very careful when a young person gives you something to eat.
Still ahead is Rachel with the weather preview.
Thanks, Kristen. Mainly fair through the forecast period. On the radar, not much going on, so it's looking dry for the time being. But please stay tuned for the full weather report as we find out who won Photo of the Week.
The weather radar picture provided courtesy of the Ministry of Transport on Vsb Tv 11.
You can count on us.
Save $1 on your choice of Bermuda-grown romaine or green leaf lettuce. Only $2.49 per package. Save $1.50 per pound on fresh Purdue chicken thighs. Value packs, only $1.99 per pound. Great savings of 90 cents on an imported dozen white eggs, only $2.59. For your baking needs, bluebonnet margarine sticks, 1-pound box, $1.59. Big savings of $1.69 on Atlantic sugar, 4-pound bag, only $2.10. All stores open until 10 p.m. for your shopping convenience.
You can count on us.
For diagnostic service at its best, stop by Bermuda's premier automobile dealership and service center. Auto Solutions. Whirl with us.
In an emergency or every day, the hospital is here for Bermuda. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Bermuda, isn't it time for us to be there for our hospital?
We need your support. Create a legacy for your family with a donation to the Bermuda Hospital's Charitable Trust. Visit our website, whyitmatters.pm, or call 295-2428.
We donated. Have you?
It has come as a shock to passionate beekeeper DeGene Seymour to see the local bee population virtually wiped out in the past 6 years. And he hopes people will learn more about the crisis by attending the bee fair at BUEI tomorrow between 11 a.m. and 4 p.m.
Since 2008 to now, we've lost about 90% of our population. We had 300 hives before 2008, and now we're down to 36. So it was pretty staggering.
This is serious, isn't it? Yeah. As you say, it's not just honey, it's culture, the culture of
yeah.
All our agriculture.
Yeah. The good thing is that when we were watching the decline, you kind of feel like you're suffering by yourself. And then you have people like Best in the community becoming aware of things, and also you start to see that it's a pulling together now, and so things that we didn't understand, we learned from other resources.
If we allow this to go on, what's next?
Yeah, and that's correct. I mean, it plays a direct role in our food production. So,
what is your feeling as a beekeeper about pesticides? You obviously are troubled.
Oh, most definitely. Well, when you see pesticides being used, then you know that the bugs that they're trying to control for their production is now our bugs, which are the bees.
Yes. Wonderful.
And it's also other things like, people are now more aware of the bees, so just killing bees is no longer on their agenda. They will call a beekeeper, and we will happily take those bees away and give them a good home.
And these are wild bees, I presume?
Wild bees, yeah.
Are they useful?
Sorry?
Are they as useful as real?
Oh, that's where we get most of our increase from, is bee swarms.
So they could save the day, could they?
Yes, they surely do. and they come, because they're not managed by man, and they're under nature's free market system.
They're stronger.
They tend to be stronger, and they tend to be stronger, and they tend to be resistant going in from one season to the next, and that's just a correlation, but I don't know how true it is.
A 12-part series on Bermuda's marine life is to air internationally. Vsb News' Julia Smith spoke with the producers of the series, Andrew Smith and Daniel Radford. The two men of gas production company said the experience of filming the series was nothing short of amazing.
I think in terms of the kind of marine wildlife that Bermuda's got and what we're putting on the screen for people to see, I don't think people have seen it from this part of the world before. A lot of camera crews have been to a lot of other places, filmed a lot of different species, but just the abundance of those species that are here and the kind of photography that we're getting, I think, is quite unique.
What are some things that maybe you, throughout the process of filming, etc., did you sort of learn that maybe you didn't know before about the marine life and it's concerning Bermuda?
that humpback whales are incredibly challenging to film, I think, but probably more than anything. Dan and I have filmed all over the world in some of the most challenging places, and we have filmed humpback whales before, but certainly not quite like this. You know, we're filming the majority of the time from a very small rib, a rigid inflatable boat. We're 12-13 miles off the shore. You know, we're battling, in some instances, 10-foot seas with an opposing wind, and we're carrying 70,000-80,000 pounds worth of cameras on shoulders. We're strapped into the rib and we're trying to follow a whale which we don't know where it's going to come up, we don't know where it's going to go down, trying to get pieces to camera, and we're trying to film the whales, and it's a very, very difficult and challenging thing to do.
Yeah, I think there are moments when you're in anticipation of what the challenge might be or how you're going to feel in that moment, but until it actually comes along and happens, that's the moment when you react to it. And I mean, particularly for me, when I was in the water with the whales, having not been in the water with them before, in that moment when it finally came up and was close by, that was quite awe-inspiring.
Now here are the daily markets presented by Bias.
Here are the daily markets presented by Bias. Global equity markets fell on Friday as fears on Wall Street about overstretched stock valuations spread to Asia and Europe, pushing investors to the safety of bonds. U.S. stocks fell in a volatile session on Friday as biotech shares resumed their downward trend and disappointing earnings from J.P. Morgan weighed on the financial sector. On the Bermuda Stock Exchange today, 200 shares of Keytech traded at $5.40, up 5.68% from the previous close. 1,100 shares of Summers Limited changed hands at $12.25, unchanged from the previous close. European stocks sank on Friday, mirroring a sell-off on Wall Street led by technology and biotech shares that has been fueled by worries some stock valuations are overstretched. Asian stocks declined, with Japanese shares tumbling to 6-month lows on Friday after a rout in U.S. tech shares spurred selling by momentum players. The Nikkei fell 2.38% on the day to 13,960. Most Latin American stock markets declined on Friday. The Vsb gained 1.33% on the day as oil company Petrobras rose on wagers losses from gasoline sales will narrow. Treasuries rose, pushing yields lower as a report showed inflation remains subdued. 10-year yields fell 3 basis points to 2.62%. The dollar ended up after 5 days of losses against a basket of its major counterparts as investor risk appetite shrank and global stocks fell. That was a look at the daily markets presented by Bias. There's more news after the break.
Perfect for your fish cakes, Ocean's Finest Codfish. Only $6.99 for a 400-gram bag. Save $1.50 per pound on fresh green beans. Only $2.49 per pound. Save $1.15 on Hunt's Ketchup 35-ounce squeeze bottle. Only $2.29. Snack on Wise potato chips. Only $1.49 for a 3.75-ounce bag. Regular, diet, cherry, or zero Coca-Cola soda. Only $4.99 for a 6-pack. All stores open until 10 p.m. for your shopping convenience.
Copyfax is Bermuda's authorized Samsung dealer. See a large range of Samsung color and black and white multifunctional machines, printers, scanners, faxes, and copiers, and all networkable. Copyfax has Samsung machines suitable for home, office, or any size business in an A4 format, taking up less room than other similar equipment. And replacement supplies are in stock for all of their Samsung products. Affordable shopping at Copyfax Limited, where service comes first.
A gentle reminder from the Office of the Tax Commissioner. It's tax time again. Taxpayers are reminded that payroll tax returns and corporate service tax returns for the quarter ending 31st March 2014 are due on or before Tuesday, 15th of April 2014. Hotel occupancy tax returns for the month ended 31st March 2014 are also due on or before Tuesday, 15th of April 2014. Full payment must accompany returns, otherwise penalties will apply. Taxpayers Taxpayers who are currently eligible for payroll tax relief under the retail, restaurant or hotel concessions must also file completed returns on or before the deadline. Failure to do so will result in penalties. For more information, visit www.taxbermuda.gov.bm or call 297-7807, 297-7750 or 297-7751, making your taxes a little less taxing.
For much more furniture, visit Bermuda's only Ashley Furniture Gallery. Big Savings Zone. You want the best? Forget the rest. For all your furniture needs, shop Big Savings Zone and support your local retailers. Have you ever ordered something online expecting it to be a certain price, but when it arrives it ends up being a whole lot more? Beware of those unexpected hidden fees. That never happens at Big Savings Zone. Open Tuesday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Big Savings Zone at the end of Stocks Road, St. David's.
This month's Carifta Swimming Championships will be an official FINA qualifying event for this year's Youth Olympic Games in China from August 16th to 28th. National swimming coach Ben Smith says they have a young team, but he can see us winning a handful of medals.
Yeah, the competition will be held in Aruba this year, and it's going to be held from the 23rd to the 26th with it's an open water swim on the final day, which will be the Saturday.
How does the team of 14, like for example, Ben, how many did we have representing us last Carifta?
It's almost exactly the same amount of swimmers. There's actually just been a couple of changes. Some of our swimmers aged out last year, and we've added quite a few young, up-and-coming swimmers this year. It's the most that we've taken in the 11 and 12 age group, which is our development level of the program. But it's pretty exciting because we're going to have relay teams for both male and female in that age category. And overall, the team is quite strong.
How many different categories are there, Ben?
There's the 11 and 12, 13, 14, and then 15 to 17 category.
Mm-hmm. And how many medals did we win last year?
I believe it was just around 5 last year. It was from what we've been doing recently, that was probably a lower level for us. But really, that was based off of a lot of swimmers had changed age groups. They were at the bottom of their age groups, so they were racing older swimmers. But this year, we're lucky to be in a position where a lot of our swimmers will actually be at the top of their age group.
Mm-hmm. How would you sum up preparation for Aruba and Carifta?
We've been going through a training camp during the Easter break, which has been going very well. Doing training sessions both at the Bassa pool at Saltus and also at the NSC pool to get some long course training in. The team looks very strong, and they're in good spirits. We're hoping to really have them ready and rearing to go for fast swimming when we get to Aruba.
What about the open water swim? Tell me more about that.
Yeah, this is a category that's been added to a lot of our overseas competitions recently. Last year was the first year that we actually had someone participate in one of these international open water swims, and that was Vaughn Rouse. This year, we're actually going to have quite a few of our swimmers do it. It's only available in the 13, 14, and 15 to 17 age brackets, and it's going to be a 5K open water swim.
April is Environmental Awareness Month, and Vsb Tv 11 is airing relevant documentaries exploring environmental issues concerning all of us on Wednesdays and Fridays at 10 a.m. and 9 p.m. for the month of April. Sponsored by Auto Solutions, Roll With Us, Belco, The Power to Save, and Lindo's, Why Go Anyplace Else? Environmental Awareness Month on Vsb Tv 11.
A gentle reminder from the Office of the Tax Commissioner. It's tax time again. Taxpayers are reminded that payroll tax returns and corporate service tax returns for the quarter ending 31st March 2014 are due on or before Tuesday, 15th of April 2014. Hotel occupancy tax returns for the month ended 31st March 2014 are also due on or before Tuesday, 15th of April 2014. Full payment must accompany returns, otherwise penalties will apply. Taxpayers Those who are currently eligible for payroll tax relief under the retail, restaurant or hotel concessions must also file completed returns on or before the deadline. Failure to do so will result in penalties. For more information, visit www.taxbermuda.gov.bm or call 297-7807, 297-7750 or 297-7751, making your taxes a little less taxing.
Good evening, everyone. TGI Friday, and welcome to tonight's VSB weather forecast. Our first weather shot is brought to us by Catherine Wakely, taken this afternoon, Castle Harbor. Absolutely gorgeous day. Beautiful blue skies, barely a cloud in the sky, and look at that water. If it wasn't so cold, I'd jump right in, but it's still a little chilly for me today. And our next weather shot, Suzanne Stone, sent again this afternoon, Hamilton Harbor. Absolutely stunning photo of the capital. We've got the ferry going across the harbor, beautiful blue skies. We are so lucky to live in Bermuda, and thank you, ladies, for sending in these wonderful shots of our gorgeous island. And temperatures for today, we had a high of 69 at 3 in the afternoon and a low of 61 at 7 in the morning. Current conditions, 66 degrees, humidity 60%, winds easterly 10 knots, and barometric pressure is falling at 30.34 inches. Rainfall index for the month of April, 1.18 for a yearly total of 20.27. Yearly normal for this time, 16.14 inches. And looking at the satellite, a broad ridge of high pressure stretches from the U.S. Gulf Coast north of Bermuda to east of Newfoundland. This will maintain fair weather as it slowly drifts northeastward. A cold front will move by to our north on Sunday, stall and dissipate as it encounters the high. Those of you who are traveling, let's take a look at the gateway cities. Atlanta, mostly cloudy, 78. Boston, mostly sunny and 59. Charlotte, mostly sunny and 79. London, 59 and partly cloudy. Miami, 82, mostly cloudy. New York, 69 and mostly sunny. Orlando, partly cloudy, 84. Philadelphia, partly cloudy, 70. Toronto, partly cloudy and 55. And Washington, 71 and partly cloudy. Back at home tonight, partly cloudy with a low near 61. Winds east-northeast 10 to 15 knots, and then veering easterly 8 to 12 knots. And tomorrow, mostly sunny, increasing clouds through the afternoon with a high near 69. Winds easterly 5 to 10 knots, and then veering east-northeast 8 to 12 knots. Marine tonight, no warnings. Seas inside the reef 1 to 2 feet. Seas outside the reef 3 to 6 feet. Sea surface temperature is 71 degrees. And marine tomorrow, seas inside the reef 0 to 1 foot, seas outside the reef 2 to 4 feet. High tide will be at 7:17 in the morning, and low tide will be at 1:35 in the afternoon. Looking at the 5-day forecast. Sunday, partly cloudy, the high near 68. Monday, mixed with sun and cloud, breezy, high near 69. Tuesday, partly cloudy with a chance of 1 or 2 brief showers, breezy, high near 71. And Wednesday, partly cloudy and breezy with a high near 73. Congratulations to Catherine Wakely. You are our photo winner of the week for the gorgeous shot you sent in today. We'll be in touch with you about your prize, dinner for 2 at one of Bermuda's finest restaurants. Thank you to Ken Smith, our meteorologist for tonight, and everyone at the Bermuda Weather Service. And a big birthday shout out to Ben Pewter. And have a great weekend, everyone. I'm Rachel Sawden.
Hi, I'm Peter Javetic, host of Season to Taste. Easter greetings to you all and welcome back to the first show of the second season. I'll be here on Tuesday night with Vsb Tv 11 News, where I'll be preparing this lovely dish of lamb which is crusted with pine nuts, rosemary and Dijon mustard, and find out from Neil what the Gosling's wine of the week is.
Tuesday during the Vsb Tv 11 News.
From all of us here at VSB, I'm Kristen Martinez, and have a great weekend.
Wardrobe and makeup for Kristen Martinez and Rachel Sawden, provided by Gibbons Company.
VSB TV 11, Bermuda.